Welcome to the Wimlex Show. This is Alex, and our second guest in the Wimlex Show is Willem Kesteloo. He's the founder of PHYSEE Technologies, a truly innovative company. After his studies in physics at Delft University of Technology, he and his fellow student came up with a groundbreaking idea of sustainability. They invented solar windows, smart electricity-producing windows that most probably will be the next generation of standard windows within a few years, because they don't just only produce electricity, but collect data in a smart way to make people feel more comfortable when they are in the room. And the questions Willem and I are having for Willem Kesteloo are pretty clear. So how he's going to find new customers, when he will become the next billionaire in real estate development, because he's owning all the window innovation. And he's a very, very outstanding founder with a superb product, and he's telling us how the market for windows is working.
Hello everybody, welcome to already the second podcast of the Wimlex Show with Alexander and Willem. And today we have a very special guest, Willem Kesteloo, the founder of PHYSEE. And he's selling power windows, which is a patented and transparent window that generates electricity. We're really glad that you're here. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your company and your background?
Sure, that's a lot of questions. Let's start with the first one, myself. My name is, as you said, Willem. I studied in Delft, applied physics, graduated 4.5 years ago on the fundamental properties of materials you can find in the earth. And from there I met my now co-founder, but back then study friend, colleague, how you want to call it in your student days. And together we did some very interesting experiments in the lab, based upon which we thought, hey, you know what, maybe we can actually take this out of the lab and put it into the real world and see if we can make a positive impact on the energy transition. And from there we actually founded our company, PHYSEE, which also stands for physics and seeing, because that's our background. And we think that by looking at it from a physics perspective, it shouldn't be that hard of a challenge or problem to solve. And that's how we came up with our electricity generating windows. That's about 4 years ago. And we were just talking before that as you start your entrepreneurial journey, your product continuously evolves. And currently it evolves from an electricity generating window to an intelligent communicating window that not only produces electricity but also hugely saves on the energy consumption of the building itself, and maybe even equally important, highly increases the user experience of the building, as you will, so that people living there or working there are more happy, more productive, more comfortable.
And it's obviously a great solution. How did you become so driven about sustainability?
That started actually when I came back from my bachelor thesis. I was doing research in the US, in San Francisco, and there I sort of got the vibe or vibrant entrepreneurial atmosphere. So then when I moved back to Delft to do my master's in physics, I really got excited about entrepreneurship, and I really asked myself, what are the topics I'm passionate about? And the one thing that came to me first and foremost was energy itself. Because to me, if you look at it from a physics perspective, again, it's simply a sort of an energy balance. The earth provides energy and we are consuming energy, and it's a matter of balancing the two, and we should be completely fine. And then the amount of energy we get from the sun or from other forces is so much more than the amount of energy we consume. So the potential is there to just balance it. It's a matter of doing it. And I think that's where the inspiration or drive came from during my studies.
Can you explain a little bit more on the product itself? So
yeah,
solar windows. So sounds interesting. I've heard your story before, but people can understand. So what the product really is about, what like pricing ranges we are talking. Is it like for private households, only for office buildings?
Yeah, so the product itself is, as you said, indeed, it's a smart electricity generating window. So let's start with the last part. It's a window. It's fully transparent. It has the same insulation values as any double or triple pane window. So we can offer as the market demands. We can do double pane, triple pane, small, large windows. We don't affect the design or aesthetics or functionality of the window itself. What we do is we add functionalities. So we add integrated solar in the edges, and we add smart sensor technology in the edges, so it's hidden from sight. But the result is that is basically a traditional looking window that positively impacts your energy efficiency and level of comfort.
And if you compare it to a standard solar panel, people can relate to, because it's now installed in Germany on all the like new house roofers. How effective is it? So if you look at like a 2.2 meter window, so if you compare like the energy creating level to like a 2.2 meter modern solar panel, can you compare it somehow?
Yeah, it's very difficult to compare because it's highly dependent on the angle, the position of the window itself. So solar panels are pretty limited in where you can place them, so they have to be under the right angle on the roof, so there's usually limited space. But if you compare sort of ideal test facilities, so ideal angle and everything is optimized perfectly, then I would say that currently we are about 1/12 of a solar panel, and commercially and in research we're getting close to 1/5 or 1/6. So that would mean that you would need 6 windows per solar panel to get to the same electricity production. However, because of the fact that it's a window you can install anywhere, and we use novel technology that it's not angular dependent, so you can install your windows on the east and on the north side of your building and it still produces as much electricity. But by incorporating the sensors, it does not only produce that amount of electricity, but it also saves up to 20% of your energy consumption. And that's actually where the huge benefits are made, because that goes until the entire energy efficiency of your building.
How is that working?
What you could do is, what we do at least, is we look at a building as if it was a human, and then the facade is the skin, just as your own skin. So it knows when to sweat or it knows when it's cold. And that's also what our windows provide. So they're in contact with the internal and external environment. So it knows temperature, light, air quality, anything you are interested in knowing as a source of data. And it communicates this either with a local building management system or with our own algorithms. So our windows know exactly how the building is doing from an energy perspective and can preactively steer on that. So for instance, if your window every day at 3 o'clock when the sun hits the window, it knows that 2 hours later it's too hot in the room and the AC goes on. And the third time that happens, our windows communicate to the AC like, hey, it will become warm here. Maybe we already want to start cooling a little bit and lower the sun blinds. And this intelligence makes it 20% more energy efficient, the energy system itself.
Okay. And you're producing it in your own factory, or where do you produce it?
So we produce it, everything we develop ourselves. That's what we like to do. And then as soon as it works, we patent it. And then all the production takes place at the glass and or window manufacturer itself. So all our components are fully integratable in the existing production lines or supply chains of the glass industry. And that allows us to scale up. So we simply provide our components to the production facility, and they subsequently assemble the windows, distribute them to the construction site. They also give the warranty that it will remain there for 20 years, maintaining the appropriate insulation values in production, etc.
No, we haven't spoken about numbers or traction before. Can you give like a slight insight? So what kind of grade of business you've achieved so far? Is it still in an incubation phase where like 2 or 3 people are working on an innovative solution, or are you already more like in production kind of scale?
Yeah, I think it's sort of startup going scale-up phase we're now in. So we are just shy of 30 people. We just closed our first big contracts in both the renovation and construction of commercial and residential real estate. So we're really showing the potential. We this year closed our funding round for the next 2 years to really scale up and to internationalize. So I think this is sort of the time and place we are currently in.
Was it hard to get funding for such a hardware business, as now is everybody investing in like online businesses?
Yes, very hard, especially if you're picky, and we are. So we really took 6 to 9 months to fully map what's out there, what type of funding is available. Should it be from the industry? Should it be from institutional investors with grants and subsidies? So we really took the time, and therefore it was hard to find the right partners. But in the end, we're very happy that we took the time and that we found those.
What kind of partners are they?
So on the one hand, it's a consortium of real estate titans, especially Dutch and more internationally oriented real estate entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And then
could you mention their names?
So the first investor who joined us was Dinko Valerio, who's an entrepreneur himself.
Crucel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Founder of Crucel. And then we have from the construction industry Daan van der Vorm van Vormbouw en Ontwikkeling, Job Dura from Dura Vermeer, Koen van Oostrom van OVG Real Estate, now Edge Technologies, and the family Van Vechel, who run Timeless Investments, for instance. So that's really more a family that has multiple participations in either real estate development or real estate investments.
Cool. Wow. Yeah. And you said that was the first partner, the consortium of real estate. And are there any other investors?
Yeah, the second, let's say, investor is the European Innovation Committee. So we got awarded the SME Phase 2 grant, which is a grant for European SMEs that are trying to make an impact in for instance, energy. But they are the sort of a matching grant, so they match the amount of the investment of the investors.
Though I guess it's the case, like if like the tools and the components are providing like intelligent information on housing. This is like especially a case for new buildings or buildings under construction.
Yeah.
But is it like a business case? So I guess like windows are getting a little bit more expensive than standard windows. So you must make some money somehow. But do you have like a prognosis where you say, okay, after like 10 years, because you saved so much energy in terms of like your air condition or your produced energy, it's already paid back? Yeah,
exactly. So what we now promise is that the window itself will never be more than twice as expensive as a normal window. So then how to pay back for that extra investment. In the beginning, it was a lot focused on the electricity production. And now it's actually the combination of the three. So producing electricity, saving energy, and increasing comfort. And especially the latter two are harder to quantify with numbers, so it's easier with certifications. So you have, for instance, in Europe, the BREEAM or LEED certifications for the energy efficiency of buildings. And for well-being, you have the WELL certificate. And those certificates...
There's a certificate for well-being?
Yeah. It's very... Just some facts. So we are spending 90% of our time inside buildings. So the way we experience being in buildings is of high importance to a lot of people, especially real estate developers, because for them it's a return on their investment. So we offer in both those dimensions sort of a level up in such certificates, which directly translates into more value per square meter, bluntly put.
Crazy. And again, to nail this question a little bit, so if there's like a new office building, and the office building decides, okay, that's such an office building we're in, for example. And if it decides, okay, instead of investing 100K for the windows.
For all the windows.
It's a little bit more expensive here, but I think it's 100k.
Yeah.
You say, okay, it's 200k. So how long does it take to earn the money back, so to say?
I would say on average between 6 to 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah, I think that's even faster than the standard solar panel investment case.
That's
These
usually
were
20 years.
for 12 to 15 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. And that's also what we really believe, that I think in the future, so with the 2-year runway we now have, at the end of the 2 years, I actually want to be at 3 years.
Oh yeah?
Because then is when I believe it will become...
We're seeing the next real estate tycoon here, sitting in the WIMLEX show.
Let's hope so, because I think what we offer is really a solution that actually highly impacts the energy efficiency of the built environment. And it's complementary to solar panels. So I'm still a big fan of solar panels on roofs where there's room for solar panels. I'm only advocating that the facades are so far unused to contribute to this energy mix, and why not use it?
And there's more and more glass now built into facades. Yeah.
Exactly.
And can I just, I haven't seen like a picture from your windows, but when it's built into the edges, can I imagine it in a way that it looks like a solar panel inside the edges?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So now, I don't know if you know, but if you look at double or triple pane windows, if you look in the glass itself, in the edges, you sort of see an aluminium strip.
Yeah.
And that's then a solar strip.
So, is there a reason not to go with a solution like yours then in the future?
In the future, I hope not. I think let's say our ambition is really to become the next standard in Windows. Just that it's now very normal to go from single pane to double pane windows. And in Germany, actually more and more triple pane windows. And we just want to be the next level of Windows, where you say if you're replacing your windows anyway, why not make them smart and electricity producing?
Yeah, that's a nice vision though. Most people compare themselves with like the Uber or Google have the next search engine to have like be the next window standard. That's a nice vision.
Yeah.
And then you said you already acquired some residential and commercial real estate clients.
Yeah.
Why did they choose for the next generation window?
I think honestly in the beginning it was opportunistic. So we pushed a lot and we went out there a lot and we talked to a lot of people. Yeah. And I think in the beginning we really sold on the story itself. So why not make our windows contribute in this way? And I think now for the bigger contracts, it's actually about the payback time. So we can really show that it's a proper investment. So up until now, a window has been a sunk cost when you're developing. Let's say the 100K you were mentioning, nobody sees it anywhere except the value of the real estate itself. And let's make it not 100K but 200K, but over the 20 years it earns back itself a couple of times, and all of a sudden your window becomes an investment instead of a cost.
And then I'm actually currently in the process of building a new house. It's done by a project developer. Now that I know of PHYSEE, I would have said to them, guys, please give me an option for the next generation window. Yeah. Is that your aim as well?
Live customer acquisition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Well, actually, they already placed my windows, and it's a bit too late now. But are you aiming for consumers asking their project developers to enforce like a marketing stream, or are you targeting the project developers directly to offer this as an option?
Yeah, it's a completely mixed up market. So we really target everybody. Okay. We target tenants, owners, architects, governments, developers, investors, constructors, or contractors, I must say. Because all of them need to want it, because it's new in a conservative industry. So everybody needs to be comfortable enough to work with our technology. That's why we partner with the manufacturers themselves, so that they give the warranty that the window itself is good. And then if it comes from a trusted glass manufacturer, the contractor is okay to work with it, and the facade builder is okay to work with it. So we target all these stakeholders. And
where do you find the most receptiveness so far?
At the developers. Okay. The real estate developers, They usually take the risk. For them it's really about distinguishing themselves from the other developers. So they have to win the tender. And for them it's really a distinguishing fact to be able to offer these types of windows to their clients, being a government or an owner.
And I can imagine that in B2B, companies are being more careful about the choices they make.
Yeah.
Do you see momentum there as well?
Yeah, it's getting there. It's like you said, they're a bit more cautious, so they look at best practices or track record. And as we are now building track record, it becomes more and more easier to also convince the B2B or the commercial industries. Yeah.
And do you see prime examples here in the Netherlands? Like I've been in The Edge a couple of times.
Exactly. Yeah. So
would that be an example of like a sustainable office, or do you see other examples here in Holland as well?
No, that was actually our very first pitch 4 years ago when The Edge was developed by Koen van Oostrom. Yeah. So we reached out to him saying, Koen, amazing what you did. It's the most sustainable office building in the world. Congrats, but it's kind of cheating. And then because what he did, very cleverly, he installed plenty of solar panels on surrounding facilities, contributing to the energy label of that office. And then we said, that's not really scalable if you want to make every building an edge building. And then we said, but we have the solution for you. If you simply use our windows instead of the normal windows you now used, you could have achieved the same energy level. And that sort of got that relationship going, and that's why he took up the first pilot with us at the Rabobank in Eindhoven. And now he developed his second edge building here in Amsterdam, close to the Stadionplein, where now our windows also installed, generating all the data and sort of proving the value we want to deliver to the clients.
Wow.
Yeah, so edge is a really promising example of looking at buildings from a more technologically or technology-driven perspective. Because there's a lot of knowledge out there, but it's only for one project. Yep. So every project is developed as a new business, whereas there's no or almost no lessons learned throughout countries
the industry.
So I have a question, and usually all guests are getting this questions regarding the business model.
Yeah.
Today, from like an online perspective, you're in the boring business of producing stuff.
Yeah.
Very hard to scale.
Yeah.
Also, you've explained that you can scale through the factories of the glass industry.
Yeah.
But if I was an investor in PHYSEE, I would like to hear what kind of non-product related business, like kind of a data revenue stream or something, could be there in the future. Could you like gather information from the households and selling them something which is more like Google Nest? Because what you're actually implementing in the houses is like, that's kind of a digital device. So you're getting like exclusive information on housing health. I would say, and there's like, it smells like a data platform from investment perspective. Yeah. So could you go a little bit deeper in there?
Absolutely. And I think that's also what triggered me to join today is, as I am completely uneducated on the topic, we as a company completely see that that's going to be our main driver for future growth. Mm-hmm. So we provide solar to produce electricity, but the whole value proposition is now built around the integration of solar into sensors. Mm-hmm. So basically every building gets its own sensory network that has super relevant data, as you said, coming from the inside, so the household itself, but also coming from the outside. So as long as more and more buildings are equipped with our network, more and more correlations can be drawn with regards to air pollution or temperature developments over time or heating and cooling devices, or there could be a sort of meta level of data that can become very valuable for governments, for larger real estate portfolio owners. Mm-hmm. It can be used in predictive maintenance of large real estate portfolios that are sort of renovating their buildings. Mm-hmm. We can really provide them with relevant information to those challenges they face in the future of making all these buildings fit for the future.
And do you already gather that data in a central way?
Yeah. So all our windows are communicating with our own servers, our servers, and there we also interpret the data and we put on our own weather models and algorithms for the windows to become as effective as possible for our clients. And on the other hand, for us, it's also a way how we develop our products. So we can really test and see how our products are doing and thereby know how to improve and how to keep on continuously work towards this new generation of windows.
And do you already have some examples of things that you've discovered, analyzing the data?
I think
people don't open their windows enough.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's sort of a catch-22. I think the more data you have, the more information you can provide. So I think actually that's how we came to including sensors. When our first power windows were installed, they were basically only producing electricity. But then the interaction with the client was like, oh, this is so interesting, but how much electricity is it producing? How warm do they become? And do they produce more when it's cloudy or when it was raining yesterday? And then we said, oh, you know what? Yeah, we can just add sensors and we can tell you tomorrow. And that's how it got rolling. So for now, it's really giving and providing these insights on which the end user can have their buildings perform better. And this next level of data analytics and services we aim to provide, that's something we have to grow towards, and we have to also hear back from the industry what they want to know. Do they want to know air quality or motion sensors of how many people are using which rooms, when and why, and have the windows or the rooms communicate with each other, like, hey, the air quality is better here, you can sit here, or open up ventilation shafts amongst each other so that the air flows naturally through the building.
I have a question, and we need to go back a little bit here on customer acquisition. So, very recently, like 1 hour ago, we had a guest here who told us that he get his first thousands of customers by some good PR.
Yeah.
And this seems to be like a case which is very, very PR relevant. Not everybody's building a house right now. That is just it's not like Ben's case where everybody's having a mobile phone contract. But this seems to be kind of a no-brainer to me that if it's pushed right in like a PR strategy, that every real estate developer or private developer would say, okay, that's legit. So money is free in the market. So even like the extra price, the 100K extra for my house, probably will be covered with a riskless loan by the bank, and then it's going to be paid back itself like in 8 years. So that's a no-brainer. So what hinders you like from such a strategy or growth? Why can't you sell like hundreds of thousands of such panels tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's also how we quite recently went into partnership with ING Real Estate Finance. That's a bank in the Netherlands, and then especially ING Real Estate Finance, they finance their real estate clients. And I'm hoping that they can become the entity you're referring to, so that they can pre-finance to their real estate clients when they're renovating their buildings, that they can finance our windows, and we can make sure that they get their returns over the 20 years that their windows are there.
Yeah, so what you're essentially saying is you're lacking some data still, because for a bank, that is, if you present me as a bank, banks are like full of money. They don't know where to invest money. And now you're saying me, you can invest like money in Windows. Right now you can put in now billions of dollars now, and it's going to be like even more billions in 8 years from now.
Yeah, so that for us is a matter of skill. We're simply this startup going scale up in Delft as we started this podcast. So it's either between now and 5-6 years that we hope to be delivering our windows globally, and that it is indeed the no-brainer you're referring to.
Are you able to attract enough talent in Delft? I don't know Delft. It doesn't sound very big to me, like Amsterdam or Rotterdam.
It has a very good technical university, luckily.
So
for you,
that legitimizes the fact that we are in Delft. In my opinion, it has the best technical university, at least in the Netherlands. Thankfully, a lot of other countries also think so. So there's a lot of international students coming to Delft to pursue their master degree. And from there, that's our recruitment pool. But then again, we're now moving to our first big office that can hopefully host, let's say, about 50 people. So in 1 or 2 years' time, we might need to expand to the bigger cities in the Netherlands. But I think actually Delft is big enough to serve the Netherlands, and we're now looking into Germany and the UK first for our internationalization strategy, and from there go to the Asias or the Americas.
So I have a software-related question. So I'm a little bit like doubting your strategy, because if it comes to engineers, I believe you. But if you're talking about like more like a platform strategy, it's not about like product engineers in the future. It's like software engineers in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
And the main pitch of Spryker is actually because there's so many new interfaces coming into the market with new like commerce-related processes coming with interfaces. You're such a use case for us. From our point of view, your windows are only an interface, and are actually an interface where no human interaction is needed anymore.
Exactly.
Where like Windows are able to be connected to like an alert system because they realize that nobody's at home, and there's not so nice people coming in, or they can realize that that there's like a water damage in the house because they can measure humidity in the air. So that's the so-called IoT use cases. But if I think about those cases, we have a couple of clients who are connecting their interfaces to our platform to push like commerce operations in there. That is a software engineer driven business. Do you have already software engineers in your company?
Two. Yeah.
So,
hiring or looking for a third one.
So when it comes down to software engineers, is Delft still a good place to be?
Good question. I think in the Netherlands it's good enough because it delivers then the whole package from hardware to software. But I'm assuming that Amsterdam and Rotterdam has equally good software engineers.
Well, the funny thing, TamTam, the founding company of Delft, they started in Delft as well.
Yeah,
they've grown to I think about 150 people in Delft.
What could happen to
so there's actually they had a good success rate, but the thing also in the other big cities, as in the whole of the Netherlands, finding developers is extremely hard right now.
Yeah.
So the question is whether to move to Amsterdam or Rotterdam would solve this issue. Yeah. Perhaps nearshoring. Or hiring talent from other markets, and what we did is we brought in people from Portugal to Delft. Because we couldn't. Well, we still can find talent here, luckily, but also we need to look outside of the country to find talented people.
I'm just raising this issue because usually my question here is like, where do you get your customers from? So how much money make you from customer? How loyal are they in terms when it comes to like buying a window? In your case, as private customers, that's something you hopefully only do like every 10 or 20 years or something. So he might be loyal and love your product, but still it's not a recurring. There's no cool recurring revenue. So there must be like a recurring revenue business model based more on the software side, or is there more products coming out where maybe your windows are not so solid and then there's change like every 10 years? So, but is there like another product which you can add on the Windows side? Doors? Yeah.
So what we do is we offer multiple solar doors. But we also offer multiple functionalities we can connect our windows to, but that's usually ventilation, sunblinds, lighting, those energy-related functionalities. And I'm fully with you that the cooler recurring revenue streams or subscription-based models are all in the software side of our solution.
And could then consumers get to the data through the PHYSEE app, or can you integrate that with Nest or with other smart meters as well?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
So we can open up our API and have it shake his hands or her hands with any other. Okay. Or we can provide our own.
Is that already in place?
Yeah.
Okay. With which smart meters?
We're now working closely with Engie and their energy system. We're going to do, hopefully next year, a test case at the Tropicana. You
Blue
might
City,
know as the swimming pool, and is now Blue City.
Yeah.
And there we're going to show
a lot of windows.
How we can work together. A lot of windows are very hard to control the climate internally. Yes. So it's like a greenhouse. So it's extremely hot in the summer, extremely cold in the winter, and our windows can balance that peak hugely, and thereby it's also interesting for Engie because then they can provide their energy more as a service. Yeah.
I was always asking myself, so is it so hard actually to integrate solar panels into other devices? So you mentioned solar sun blinds. So sun blinds are going down usually when the sun is too strong, which is like a perfect use case for solar panels integrated in sun. Is it hard to do or is it expensive?
The quick answer is it's very hard, but I agree with you. It looks so obvious that it seems simple, but we're now actively engineering our product for 4 years, and it's now getting into a phase where it's certified, scalable, affordable, and so that took quite some engineering from a very good starting point. Like the entire research we put into it beforehand, I think it's cumulatively 9 to 10 years of fundamental physics research, what was sort of the stepping stone to where we are now. So it looks very simple, I fully agree, but to make it work is quite difficult. Thankfully, because then it's harder for others to...
No, I'm still more inclined in the software ideas. Or that's what Google and other companies are buying. They're buying like access providers, like consumer interfaces. And here I think B2B industries like real estate developers are usually not digitized at all. So this seems to be a very, very interesting starting point in their industries. And if you're able to convince like banks like ING or other banks to improve the use case, that's really going to pay back. Plus there probably might be some federal programs helping like the real estate developers to push it. It's a super interesting case from my point of view. I have another customer acquisition related question. Would it be interesting for you to push your product on like standard marketplaces like an eBay or Amazon or Alibaba to reach end customers like him?
I think in the future, absolutely. I think for now, the economics work better at large development projects because then the energy efficiency or the energy savings really account for something. But as I mentioned, that in 2 or 3 years from now, hopefully the payback time drops to 2 or 3 years. And from that point onwards, it's definitely also interesting to push it through any other marketplace to consumers or individuals. Because then it just becomes, whenever you're replacing your window, I want it replaced with these services attached to it, like you mentioned, either theft related or water damage related, but also energy efficiency related, comfort related, monitoring the air quality of your the children's rooms or your bedroom, making sure everybody remains healthy and happy.
But then thinking of your market growth potential, you're now focusing on new buildings. The biggest market is in existing buildings. So people who are doing a refurbishment of their house, renovations. Tropicana already has windows. Are you then replacing them?
So that's literally a renovation or retrofit project. That's up until now it's about 50-50 renovation or new builds. Usually when you're renovating, the outer shell is the first one to go because that's usually the worst in the worst state. So the foundation of a building is relatively solid, but then when you're renovating, it's usually because of energy actually, or because of comfort. And then the outer shell can be 20, 30-year-old single pane windows that you can hardly open and close anymore. And then you want to have these double or triple pane windows that monitor the climate, etc.
So you are thinking of a marketing strategy towards renovation projects.
So we always say we have sort of 4. We have residential and commercial, and we have renovation and construction. Any mix between those is possible.
And where currently do you see the most momentum?
Actually, the renovation of residential. Oddly enough. We maybe expected in the beginning new build commercial, but we're doing a big project in The Hague, Binkade, which is a multi-family, multi-tenant renovation. Tropicana is then again commercial. but we're also developing a new residential tower in the northern part of Amsterdam, Bold Tower. So that's a construction. So it varies.
So examples in all four dimensions.
Yeah, exactly.
And what are your biggest challenges right now?
I think it's always a lack of time, money, and people. And
money, you said you
have investors
through like the next 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's now, and then hopefully we grow quicker and we need money earlier.
It's a fresh impression. So okay.
Yeah, exactly. So we got the round, which is now a high, but then so now we need to spend the money on the right milestones, people, traction, and keep on running.
Yeah. So as we are hitting like the 40-minute marks, which is always like a signal for us, like to come to an end. So what is like apart from hiring people and rolling out like in the first project, is there something you're really looking forward in 2018, 2019 for your company?
So aside from people and rolling out,
which is exciting enough already. But maybe there's something behind that.
Yeah, I think we're very excited about those big projects coming up next year. That's really going to be the proof point. That's going to be visible. It's going to be, when you're talking about it in Amsterdam, you can actually point across the waters and say, yeah, they're actually right there. Or when you're in The Hague or when you're in Rotterdam, then there's iconic landmarks equipped with our solution that we can refer to. And I think that's the exciting part for the beginning of next year.
That's cool. So imagine there's now thousands of listeners in the podcast. Some of them real estate developers, some retail developers, but they do have other problems. And maybe some people building houses. Is there something how you could help them today? Is there like a special Wimlex voucher you want to offer here, or should they just go to the PHYSEE website, or is there actually a way to interact with you?
Yeah, there's absolutely ways to interact, and I have to think on the spot about a special Wimlex deal. But what we offer our clients is what we call the feasibility check, so written as our company, feasibility check. And what we do is then with any plans, so drawings or anything available about the development or renovation of real estate, we do a full engineering analysis on the impact we can achieve with our product. And I'm more than happy to provide, let's say, the first 5 or 10 actually interested developers, owners, investors, what have you, that are looking to implement solutions like this, to have them come to our office, we show them around, and we can offer them such a feasibility check to see the impact we can realize for them.
That sounds like a bright future for PHYSEE.
I hope so.
Should have had this interview a year ago, so I could be one of them. Exactly, one of the lucky few.
We should have started the podcasting show a little bit earlier. So would have known about. Now it seems for me that if it's working as you're promising, it's and I don't know about like the competition landscape here. If there's super many companies there, but as far as you're investing enough money in like the central technology and like the software part, I think it's easy to protect. And in the first real estate developers and banking relation, it's like a momentum question here in the business model. But it sounds much more promising than lots of pure play e-commerce business models.
Well, thank you very much.
You can learn in the podcast that this is the new brick and mortar retail. It's like pure e-commerce models. So there's a lot of tiers in the market right now. But it was really cool meeting you here.
Likewise,
again, telling your business model and customer acquisition strategies in the podcast.
Thank you,
and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much for having me, Wimlex. And I'm also very keen to continue the conversation on the software side of things. As your mutual experience with Delft and with Spryker, I think we can learn a lot.
Yeah, I have a couple of ideas which we probably can discuss in the next podcast.
Perfect. Sounds like a date.
For the open audience. But for now, thanks a lot. And
thank you, Alexander.
See you next time.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Willem.